welcome to the Vegan Stew. This is our final show of August. Then we take a week off so you can see Coach Kayla, and then we'll be back the second week of September with our next show with some topic that we'll see what that is. But tonight, we're going to go really light, probably after we talk about current events and stuff. We're going to kind of on the light side. We're going to talk about our favorite applications that help us with, being in this vegan world. So if you have any questions, comments, or things you want to add, you know that you can put them in the box and we'll definitely address them as we're talking because we love to have the interaction. Let's say thank you to Piedmont Farm Animal Refuge for being our sponsor this month for Virtual Veg Fest Live and the presenting sponsor for Triangle Veg Fest Nashville Vegan Fest. We love them. Check them out. They're in Pittsboro, North Carolina. And if you'd like to win prizes, you have until midnight tonight to enter our August Wish Pond. Go to virtualvegfestlive.com, click the contest tab. You can do this on any of our websites, just so you know, and enter by uploading a creative photo from one of our sponsors. And who are our sponsors? We have TerraSeed, Hodo Foods, VegKey, Rebel Cheese, Cinnaholic, Familish, and Bernie Wild's Adventure Sauce. Those are our 7 this month. I think it will be the same next month, unless I negotiate somebody else to join us, which you never know. It could happen. But let me bring in the stew crew. It's an abridged stew crew tonight, and we're going to have fun with them. So, Sankita's back. Yes. From Tilted Planet. And that is Sankita, even though it just says Tilted Planet. And then we've got Marla from Vegan Street. And we've got Kelly from Climate Healers and the Vegan Abler. Well, hello, ladies. I'll say that tonight. As we all go by go by she and her on the show tonight. So hopefully Nouse is watching, but Nouse is helping their littles with school projects because school has started. and that's what happens when they're in school. They have to do some stuff. Well, we're going to start out we'll talk about climate for a second. So, hey, Susan, thanks for joining us. Well, it's remiss to not reflect on what's going on in the world. This evening or this afternoon, Stephen and I actually had a conversation about water, right? And how it's going to, let me know if I sound too loud. I think you're fine, Kelly. So, we're running out, right? He said, what are we going to do as a country when California doesn't have enough water to grow the crops? Like what's going to happen? Hi Ortiz, thanks for joining us. What's are people even thinking about what happens when the majority of our crops are grown in California and California doesn't have any water, that we'll have no food? Is anyone else thinking about this besides people who are vegan? Or I don't even think environmental people, because I don't know if they extend that far. They should, but they're not vegan. They don't care about that piece. I don't know how you care about the environment and not care about what you eat, but that's a whole other topic. We went further. And he said, we started talking about ocean water and that the technology to turn the ocean water to drinkable water is very expensive, but it exists. Mm-hmm. Right? And I said, I'm not comfortable. So tell me how you feel. I said, I'm not comfortable with us using the ocean water. I just see us humans as destructive. Mm-hmm. And we're just going to completely fuck up the oceans, even though we need that. He went into the whole science and water and how much there is and over time. And I still said, I see us as just messing this up so badly for the critters and the sentient beings that live in the ocean.
Right.
So I would say Texas is in the house. So awesome. Mm-hmm. Let me say that. And the best potatoes for California. I don't know. Idaho might disagree with that. So tell me how you feel. It's heavy. Well, luckily our main topic's really light.
Well, I know for me, what's most frustrating, like you said, Helene, is instead of like seeing where the problem is and solving it, which is like to really educate people about where our water is going to. They want to fight with vegans about our almonds, but it's not our almonds, it's our meat, right? That we're going to, like you said, we're just going to, like, instead of just curbing our meat habit, we're going to screw up our oceans,
Even worse, yeah.
Are we not that mature enough of a species to like understand and fix things? It's frustrating.
We don't have a good track record for, pivoting from disaster. Too often it seems like it falls on the same people again and again, and we're the buzzkills, we are the annoyances, we are the flies in the ointment. And like, it's not that people don't, recognize what's happening, and many people do, but it's a matter of just sheer selfishness and ability to care about the big picture, think beyond the immediacy of stopgap measures. It's very disappointing. It's hard for me to be optimistic about that aspect of things.
Now, going back to your comment, are we mature enough? We totally are not. Especially the collective maturity and the collective intelligence tends to be very low.
Yeah.
we're a bundle of joy. But what do we do about the water? Because that's, I mean, Mississippi. I mean, there's even more here than just the fact that they have issues with their water. They can't drink their water right now. They couldn't drink it before the last set of what's happening in Mississippi and Jackson. And it's a community of color majority, and the issue was there previously and they didn't fix it.
Yeah.
So there's the fact that we have a drought, and then we have the not really caring about communities, not spending the money on the infrastructure, which is the buzzword when it comes to climate change in a lot of places. But but not having drinkable water. I mean, and not having water for crops. And Stephen said, who's going to tell them, and meaning the people in California, who's going to tell them no more water for your lawns? Who's going to tell them? I know, but officially, they won't listen to us. So let's see. John said, Marla's honey, the Midwest has the best soil in the country for growing vegetables, but it's almost all wasted on growing corn and soybeans to feed animals. If this land were used to feed people, we could easily feed ourselves.
Yeah.
That's 100% true. Animal agriculture takes up so much of the food that could be fed to humans. We'd have no hunger worldwide.
So, I mean, what is a more pressing need right away than dehydration, dying? It's like, it's not something that you can just kind of like, let's put a pin on that and deal with that on the road. It's I don't know. I mean, as one of the things that Naz and I have both said, is like, all we can do is hope that younger people will care more and do something about this.
Now, in the parts of California that I have been to, they were using that fake lawn, like the AstroTurf. And, people are coming up with solutions, and those who can are trying. But we don't know if that's enough. We might have passed that point where anything can be done.
And I think we also get bored. Like, okay, this is a boring topic now, I want to move on. Like, we're bored with the pandemic, so everyone drop your mask and just carry on as usual. Like, we have this ridiculous short attention span that just flies in the face of reality. The one thing I will say that I'm appreciating, and I would like to see this to a greater extent, is I've seen different watchdog groups sort of calling out celebrities for gross misuse of resources, like whether it's flying very short distances in private jets or gross overuse of water on their estates in California. So I would like to see more of that kind of accountability, because sometimes that's the only thing that is going to push the needle. Because, you know, and unfortunately, when we hold sort of the gross misusers of resources accountable, a lot of times people say, well, I don't fly that much, I don't eat that much meat, and sort of get themselves off the hook. But the point is, we should be doing both, encouraging, diminishment of these essential resources, encouraging more plant-based, but also holding people accountable.
We need systemic changes. We're not going to solve this by convincing each individual that this is the right thing to do, because we didn't get into this situation because people said, yay, let's destroy our planet. We got here because certain systemic changes happened, which gave us an ability to start destroying the environment, a devastating attack on the environment at a amazing speed. Technology allowed us to do it, and so the systemic changes that happened because of the technology, that is what has gotten us to this point. And in order to reverse that, we need systemic changes.
And I
You need
think
the people to actually stand up and create those changes.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally
Okay.
agree. It's got to be both, because the people, creating that, we are creating these systemic changes, but we also, I think a part of it is people getting really irate about lack of convenience, and we just need to reframe what it means to be a community member, what it means to hold up the planet, what it means
to get vaccinated for polio, COVID, measles.
Coming back. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, one thing to bring about systemic changes is to hold accountable to those who are causing the pollution. When we hold them accountable, the industries, then they will make the change. It should be more affordable to keep the environment clean than not for them, for the industries that are polluting. And that will bring the systemic change. It all boils down to making polluters have to bear the cost of cleaning up. Once we figure out how to do that, things will change.
That's so difficult though, because they have the politicians in their pockets. Politicians don't want to lose their vote, right? So it's we're just screwed. Not that I know that answer. I just yes, I think we have to do it all. Top, bottom up, and vice versa.
And I think it's a very precarious thing, because I think a lot of times when people feel overwhelmed by bad news, they get nihilistic about things. Well, and so it's a sort of a difficult line to walk, to be honest about things and to show reality, but also not overload people so they just are like, so cynical that they don't think that their little thing matters, So it's a very difficult.
Remind people of the starfish.
Right.
And then hello, Oreos. Nice. Thanks for joining us. Well, it's obviously we can talk about this for hours. But segue into another horrific story in Florida, Marla. Let's go to Florida, which a lot of them come out of.
Sorry, Florida. Sorry, good people of Florida. Well, so I get Google News alerts on the topic of veganism, and something's just started popping up about a week or two ago about a woman in Florida, Sheila O'Leary, who I believe I think she was sentenced to life, is the latest news, because she basically starved her 18-month-old child to death on and this is the media's takeaway, on a vegan diet. Now, the fact is she was a raw foodist, and who knows what her motivation, like what the thinking was going on. And she also had a husband who lived in the household while children were starving. There are 2 other children who also are authorities have categorized as malnourished as well, 2 older children. So the point is, my takeaway is 2 things. One is, I think a lot of times vegans can get caught up in dietary propaganda and pushing diet culture that could be dangerous. Not all, if you're going to raise a raw vegan child, I don't really know anything about that, but you should be under supervision of a medical professional to make sure all the needs are being met. And these people were not. And then but the bigger takeaway for me is that when these things happen, the media's depiction of it is vegan, starves child to death. I've got a 20-year-old son. Sangeeta has a daughter who's a teenager. Kelly had vegan children, who is perfectly healthy and vegan. And that's probably much, 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 much more common. But the way that the media focuses and it becomes clickbait, this tragic story, is sad. I'm curious what your thoughts are on it.
Well, let's say hi to Tweenie, who is actually watching on YouTube. So awesome. Those people who killed their child, they're not vegan.
Yeah.
They're raw foodists.
Yeah.
And the media is calling them vegan because the food that they ate is vegan. However, ethically, they're not vegan, which is where the vegan title comes in. Maybe they were whole food plant-based because they were raw food. However, the most salient point that you made, Marla, is under medical supervision for the diet for your child. Yeah. These kids probably never went to the doctor either. Mm-hmm. There's no doctor is going to look at these kids and say, doing good, keep it going. So they're in the lowest percentile of everything, height, weight, and everything.
Right.
But you're doing a great job. So that's child abuse to an extreme. And the title of the headline should have been child abuse because of not feeding their children. Because that's the title. Because I just saw a new on Sunday. A new looks fantastic for a child that's been vegan for life. So there's no malnourishment there. And she eats a great diet and a variety of foods because I also get to see what she eats every day because Dilip posts it. So I see the plates every day. Sometimes I ask what it is, but it looks delicious. And every plate, so you know, every plate that Dilip makes typically has vegetables, like raw vegetables or cooked vegetables. Because the plate tonight, I think, had tomatoes on it, right? And there's a pepper. There's something raw is on the plate. Plus, it's all whole food plant-based because there's no oil, there's no salt, there's no sugar. If there is salt, there's minimal salt. If there is oil, there's minimal oil. And it's incredible food because he's a food for life. I'm talking about Sangeeta's husband, just so you know. He's a food for life instructor. So he's the one that cooks. So and he's the one that takes the pictures and posts them. And sometimes, like yesterday there was like 3 different plates because everybody got a different meal. Something similar.
We're hungry. We're doing this over dinner.
I know. I haven't eaten yet either.
and it's funny, like so many parents get their children snatched from them, sent to social services because they were malnourished. But at that time, you don't read a news that says these meat eater parents didn't feed their children.
The diet is never brought up.
Right. Yeah. Then the diet is not brought up.
other than they were starved,
Right.
it's not
Right.
the nature of, yeah, I mean, this child was 18 months and the size of a 7-month-old. So
Yeah.
there was not supervision.
Clearly, it was gross negligence. And before you see those symptoms, before a malnourishment diagnosis happened, there are so many signs along the way that they completely ignored.
Mhm.
Well,
for sure.
what I find interesting, like just from what I've seen with people's reactions to COVID and the vaccine and everything, the raw community tends to be very anti everything, anti doctor. So they don't even going to a doctor because they don't trust doctors.
Right.
So if the doctor even said that they wouldn't trust them, they think there was some ulterior motive.
Right.
So if they were going to a naturopath or whatever, probably
even naturopath would say
It doesn't
kids are malnourished.
Naturopath should have picked up on that. I mean, it's
exactly.
yeah. I mean, it's not rocket science to see a child that's malnourished. When
Right. Not reaching developmental milestones. I'm guessing if other children were malnourished, also, they may not have been in public school. I mean, there are all these different intervention points where, and I think, Kelly, that is an excellent point, and something I have observed as well, is this whole shift to I am an expert of all these subjects. So, because I saw something on BitChute or whatever random.
Because you watched YouTube. Because I watched some YouTube videos.
Yeah, I mean, BitChute's like a few levels below, but yeah, I mean, the point is that you see that a lot, all the time, every day among anti-vaxxers and the like is I did my research. Well, I do research for a living, as a and so real research is not, I read it from QAnon, I read it from this right-wing source, I read it from this like sketchy, dodgy thing, that's not real research,
No, it's looking something up.
Megan,
let's go backwards. So Oreo said one must need more focus that many successful parents of vegan children, so that one person, everything in the media makes it like skews things. So that woman, that family's not the first family to be labeled vegan and have their child die because of the diet. So that's true. And then many omnivores that have no concern for children's health also have malnourished episodes. 100%. It's child abuse. And then Megan, who I know, hi Megan, is a child abuse for a young child to have type 2 diabetes because their child is raised on fast food and junk food. If you ignore your child's diagnosis, it is child abuse.
Malnourishment is not always thinness. Malnourishment can be not getting adequate nourishment. That's literally what it means. You're malnourished. You are poorly. I'm sure Megan's talking to me. Hi, Megan. I know. But the point is that becomes clickbait. That becomes, I mean, these stories come and go. It's not going to probably be anything that will stick, but it's an unfortunate. There have always been parents who've done this sort of.
There's always been shit parents.
Yeah.
And
I don't know how someone can starve to death in your presence, your child.
That's because you're a decent human being.
There has got to be other dysfunctions in the family.
Right. I mean,
this is just a symptom of a lot of other things going wrong.
Right. I mean, this is not a mental illness and a callousness or cruelty that is hard to. So.
To harp on the raw food thing for just a moment, and I don't think I'm going to apologize to the raw foodists out there, but they think like the raw food diet can like cure kidney disease.
Isn't it like gonna cure everything?
Pretty much, but like it's some of the stuff is really hard to hear because you're just like,
Well, and that,
you-
like, I think we should call that out when we see it, because that is fake news. It's misleading. It's, by all means, every day I have a giant salad, whether it's for lunch or dinner. There's lots of nutrition in that. Nobody's poo-pooing that notion. But the idea that it's this magic bullet of, eternal life, disease-free, is nonsense. And I think that it's really important as vegans that when we see that kind of mischaracterization and fake news, I hate that term fake news because of Trump, but whatever, misinformation, that we call it out, because it does so much harm to us.
it really does. And on the flip side, I'm not saying that eating raw food is bad. I'm just
Right.
saying when you equate that to, I mean, go to a doctor. Like, don't listen to the people on the internet
Right.
when you're trying to cure yourself from, or you're trying to figure out if you've got, things like cancer and diabetes and strokes and heart
Go to a
disease.
vegan-friendly doctor. Find a doctor.
Dr. Scott Harrington.
Yeah, or I think PCRM has resources where you can find, just.
Oh, for
I
sure.
have
There's
tried-
definitely telemedicine. Go ahead.
I have tried to go raw, and I could not sustain it for two reasons. One is that my husband likes to cook. So it would be quite disappointing for him if I went fully raw, because he likes to cook. Secondly, I figured out that there are a lot of species other than us. They eat raw. They don't cook their food, but they are eating local, what the nature has offered them in the natural environment. That's what they are eating. We are not eating that.
Right.
We are eating what has been farmed over the centuries or thousands and thousands of years of farming, and then we have gotten very narrow on what we are growing in our farms. In the nature, there is a large variety of food, so you could eat one set of leaves today and other set of roots tomorrow and another set of flowers or seeds next day. But now when people started to farm what could be grown artificially, that variety is quite narrow. And that's why I think that in our modern life, if you are going to depend on what is grown in the farms, then unfortunately, I found that it is not going to sustain me.
Right.
Yeah,
And
you
it's
gotta
not
eat like 12 bananas.
right. 30
So raw
bananas.
foodists, that's what they do. They eat like 12. They buy bananas by the bushel because it's the most. I think the most common raw food that is eaten outside of the nuts and seeds.
Right. And how sustainable is that kind of diet if you live in a climate where there's like a 2-season growing period? If you're eating all the tropical foods all day long, it doesn't seem very, like, you're eating foods that are flown in, that are grown, out of season. Doesn't seem very sustainable.
I actually have an episode on my channel where I say, is the future of food vegan? And there I have this vision for the future that we not only stop raising animals, we stop actually farming, clear out all the farmland, let the natural vegetation grow there, let the animals grow there. And then we have these robots that go and do gathering for us. And then they bring their catch of the day, and then they hand it off to the chef robots. They cook it and they present it to us. So that was something that I made an episode out of that. In that scenario, maybe you could eat raw.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting future. Can't wait to reflect back on that and be like, Sankita, you were right. Really, really cool.
Well, so I keep thinking about these systemic changes that has to happen. I mean, we could change our diet, but ultimately it's going to be what systemic changes we are able to make as a species.
So Tweety said, I remember doing raw till 10 bananas a day. That until like it's the like main thing. And Oreo says, if we are what we eat and only eat plants, when do I become a plant and live on nothing but sunlight for photosynthesis? Sounds super silly. I mean, the people who use the arguments and go, like reflect on those articles and post those articles on our in our comment sections on whatever we're posting, they're using those articles as proof that what we're doing is wrong. And we can easily gather more articles from omnivores who have starved their children and abused their children than we probably could ever find of the amount of vegans that have done the same. So that's just because percentage wise, there's more of you.
Well,
so and that's why. You know. So all right. So main topic, like much later. Much later. So main topic is bad words for me. I don't know how to say it. But talking about the applications that we use in our vegan world. What's our favorite ones? What do we use in our daily lives? And we all have different lives, but we all do post on social media in various ways. For me, I just actually moved over to a different platform to do my social posts. I'm now using from Sprout Social. I moved over to Social Pilot, saved a lot of money, and it's really cool. Really, really cool. Like I'm using RSS feeds. I'm using Social Pilot to post to, so because I have so many platforms,
right.
We can create one and then we can post it out to everything. And I use an actual software to do that, or an application to do that. And I pay for that. And I'm paying a lot less money now than that. So, but it really helps. And the RSS feeds are really cool because I have veg news, I have nutrition facts, I have climate healers. And I'm grabbing their RSS feeds and having them automatically post to all our platforms.
That's awesome.
And on our Instagram, it looks beautiful because all those photos are really professional.
Yeah.
And they catch your eye. So that's like really neat. So J La is actually throwing out like their favorites, Barnivore, which is if you drink alcohol, the one you want to go to figure out if what you're drinking is vegan. And what is Cruelty-Free Kitty?
So Cruelty-Free Kitty is finding personal care products and that sort of thing that are cruelty-free. It's I believe, I could be wrong. Yes, personal care cosmetics. I believe that might be a free app. I'm not sure. There's a lot of them are free. You just put them on your phone or your device. But I'm curious, what do any of you have apps that you feel are helpful for being vegan? And I will just throw out my favorite all-time app, whether or not, anyway, it's Happy Cow. What I know it's a cliche at this point. It's just $3.99. It is worth many times its cost. You can travel throughout the world and find vegan restaurants. And another thing that's really cool about it is you can rate and review places. So you can like say I'm in a small town somewhere. Somebody could say, hey, I was here. I found that they have this on the menu. If you order it like this, you can get it vegan. So it's kind of as good as the users make it. But anyway, could not recommend Happy Cow enough. How about you guys? Do you have any other?
Absolutely. Happy Cow is, and I travel a lot. I love to travel internationally. And it's funny that even when I traveled to India, I was in Goa one time and I looked up on Happy Cow and there was this amazing vegan restaurant and they had this amazing food and it was not too far from my relatives' house where we were staying, and they didn't even know about it.
Oh, wow.
And so definitely Happy Cow is number one. Right. And to go back to Helene's comments, I don't really use social media that much. I have a YouTube channel, Tilted Planet, and then I I am on Facebook. I am a little bit on Instagram, but there I don't really post about veganism at all, because I think making systemic changes is more important to me. So that's where I'm going to focus my energy going forward. And but Happy Cow is definitely one app I
Right.
use. Yeah,
It's fabulous. So,
Kelly,
Helena
what?
and Kelly, do you guys have some that you use? No.
Honestly, I love Instagram. There's so many amazing like plant-based vegan food influencers on there. So I'm always on there looking at stuff. But I also like looking at non-vegan recipes and veganizing them. So I just Google them. So I'm really bad with apps, but I like a billion. I think it's called Bit, right? You know, that's when you're rating products and stuff. Obviously, I'll plug Unchained TV because that's great for entertainment. And they just recently got on got the app. It used to be Unchained News. Now it's Jane Unchained. I should say now it's Unchained TV. And there's one that probably not a lot of people know about, but the person who developed it is one of the volunteers at Climate Healers. And it's called United at Heart. And it's like the whole point of it is to watch videos and get all this education. You collect, I think it's like coins. So it's like as you educate yourself more about veganism, you like collect, more points or coins. So that's one that I've also used in the past as well.
There's a new one out there that I just recently started with. It's called Steps. And it's, in a sense, put the link in the comments. That's the Steps link. That's the My Steps link for VegFest Expos. And when you join it, you can add, and the steps are pretty much anything vegan and anywhere in the world. And I've kind of created in the sense of like anything vegan that's around the places where we do festivals. So when you open up your step map, you can put in, and I've put in, I think 17 steps now in a variety of states of the places we go eat.
So steps is you putting those places on there. It's not showing you where they are.
It's both.
Oh, okay.
Because once you join the map, you can see them and you can review, you can clap, you can add comments. And there's the nifty thing about it is there's a feed like Facebook, right? So there's a feed in there, except my feed is going to be all about vegan anything, anywhere as it grows. So please join the steps map and add your steps and your favorite places wherever you are so that when someone opens the map, they can find what they want. Kind of similar to Happy Cow, but this map is 100% vegan focused. And in the, just kind of growing it, it's more than just food. So it can be all our vegan vendors. It can be, place to shop. Like I need to put Spare Change in there. That's in Asheville. It's really, really cool. So let me see. Awesome. FOK Recipes is good from Tweety. And JLaw said, I have been using vegan Facebook pages for recommendations versus apps. Facebook is big time. And let's see. Susan said, I use Echo. Say that for me. Ecosia, thank you. To search in place of Google. And this is Susan has mentioned this possible because they plant trees with each search, which is actually very cool. Lots of stuff out there.
So I have a bunch I'm going to suggest. I don't use them, all of it. These are ones that a lot inserts for best vegan apps, and I'm putting them in the comments here. Obviously, Happy Cow. It's like the iconic one. It's $3.99. It's again very worth it. Vanilla Bean is more of an international focus. It's a similar concept as Happy Cow. Forks Over Knives, as was mentioned, I think that's $4.99, and that's like recipes and shopping lists, and it makes it easy if you want a whole food plant-based diet. Cruelty Cutter is free, and that is about letting you know which brands animal test and which don't, and you like often just like scan the QR code or scan the picture, and it can tell you. The one thing I will say about Cruelty Cutter is it's just animal testing. It won't tell you if it's vegan. So those two are separate things. Some are both, obviously. What you call it? The Food Empowerment Project's chocolate list is free, and that will let you know which chocolates are made without human slave labor. Very, very worth having. Food Monster is another big recipe site. I think that's I don't remember who does that. One Green Planet, maybe. Leaping Bunny is another free app, cruelty free, lets you know that sort of thing. Nutrition Facts Daily has an app called the Daily, or Nutrition Facts has an app called the Daily Dozen that helps you track how much you're eating of the highest recommended, most nutritious foods every day. Apparently, don't have that one. There's an app called Go Nuts, NUTSS. It's also free, and that will translate recipes that are omni into vegan ones. So, like, say you're baking and you're not sure how much egg replacer, like you want to add applesauce or something like that. Apparently, it translates that into vegan recipes for you, which sounds really cool. Barnivore, of course. The 21-day vegan Kickstarter will take you through 21 days of transitioning to vegan, and that's also free. And is it vegan? You scan the product and it tells you right away. So there's some really great stuff out there.
Yeah, I have used Is It Vegan a few years ago, but there just wasn't enough information on it. I don't know if it has gotten better since.
Yeah, it may have. I haven't used that one yet.
Yeah, and may I mention an app that I really like but has nothing to do with veganism? It's called Be My Eyes. And it's like you are a sighted volunteer for those who need help seeing, visually impaired or challenged people. And they can call you. You see that you're getting a call. You may answer it or you may not answer it if you are in the middle of something. But I think that whenever I answer it, I have this like sense of satisfaction that I was able to help somebody for literally it takes no effort on your part. The app is totally free. Just sign up as a sighted volunteer. And it's really cool.
So they could be holding like jars of vitamins or something, and they could say, "Is this the B12 or is this vitamin C?" And you
right,
yeah,
right. I have helped people know what kind of book they were looking at, or they needed help counting money.
Right. That's really cool.
It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's
Thank
it
you for
called?
sharing that.
Be My Eyes.
Be My Eyes. That's amazing. Thank you for doing that. And, another like little tidbit about Sangeeta is she goes locally and you goes with you a lot of the times to clean up one of the creeks by your house.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a creek here. Yeah. And we go every other week. There is a volunteering effort that we go and clean all the plastic with. They have the Haw River Association is a organization here. They have put the trash trap near where we live on the trail on the creek, and we go every other week and clean out the trash.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I was going to mention this is not a vegan one, but I often find myself looking at trees and wondering I should really know what kind of tree that is. There's a great app called iNaturalist where you take the photo and then it either identifies it for you or people will chime in and say that's whatever it is, and that's kind of cool, to feel more engaged with your natural surroundings, you know.
Yeah, there are multiple apps like that. I think on Android there is Google Lens that can identify anything for you. Then there is Picture This, which is similar to what Marla was saying. And then I think there's one for identifying birds.
Birds and plants and the stars. And the
Right.
Google
Yeah.
Lens.
Yes.
Google Lens is on the iPhone. It's
iPhone
really
too.
cool.
Okay.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's naturally there. I've used it to look up like those mating flies that I posted about recently that happened to decide to do that on my screen of my bathroom window. I was like, what are these? And what are they doing? It was really some fun responses to that, but I was able to find their robber flies, I think is what it was. And I was like, okay. They flew off together, Stephen said. still attached. So it's really helpful to that Google Lens thing is really come in handy to try and figure out what insect it is, what plant it is. I think I've used it for like animals and a whole bunch of stuff because
I don't use that. It's just sitting there on my phone, like this wealth of information.
Yeah.
Right,
And,
our phones, yes.
yeah, and also again, nothing to do with veganism, but we use Duolingo to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know how much we are learning really, because unless I put it to use, but it's one activity I do with my daughter, like every day. Okay, let's do one lesson. It's a good way of
It has to do with
bonding.
veganism if you're talking about restaurants or ordering it.
Right, exactly. Right.
There's one
Yeah.
a lot of people recommend to me called Merlin, like the wizard that helps you identify birds, and you can just like you can record the sound and not see the bird. Like a lot of times that happens when you're like, I've never heard that bird song before, and you can record it, and that will tell you what kind of bird it is, and that's kind of cool.
Oh, and one app for vegans. It used to be a little booklet which I have very successfully used on my travel before. It was called A Vegan Passport, and now there is an app. But last time I checked, the app wasn't as good as my booklet was. And you can select a language, and it has a little paragraph in that language saying that I am a vegan. These are the things that I eat. These are the things I don't eat. These are the substitutes. And I have really used the booklet handily, but as I said, last time I checked, the app was not impressive. Maybe it has improved since then. I need to check it again.
Plus there's Google Translate.
Plus there is Google Translate, yes.
Yeah, we had a guy come over. He actually just knocked on the door wanted to cut down trees and didn't speak English. He spoke Spanish. So he was speaking into his phone and having it translate and then holding his phone up so I could read it. And I was translating what I wanted to say back to him and reading it to him because I've had a number of years of Spanish and what I do know is un poco, but I can kind of make my way as best I can. So it was very interesting, because you can all communicate, and he just literally just held the phone up after talking into it. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. I mean, we live in a world that's technology driven, and I'm a fan of it, even though obviously we've already discussed earlier the problems with the fact that we're technology driven and how it's been negative on the planet and human race. I'm a fan of the convenience for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sangeeta's example of the app that helps sighted people, where sighted people help visually impaired people, is a perfect example of how we can use technology for the greater good, and I know we can do it.
And it's so easy. I mean, why wouldn't anyone do it, right?
Right. Now that everyone knows about it. I mean, everybody, almost everybody creates an app If you want to donate blood, they have an app for donating blood.
They do.
There's
Yeah.
and you can get points and turn that into money for doing a good deed, because sometimes that's what motivates people to do good deeds, is what they're going to get out of it. I mean, Susan might be able to help me with the name of it. It's the social one where you can get and sample free. You get free items to sample for your review. I think it's Social Review. Susan, if she's still watching, because she does it too. And they basically send you a coupon to go to the store and you get vegan stuff. I have one right now for a Ritter Sport chocolate bar. And you go, you get it, and you try it, and then you post your honest review.
Do you
So
post
Social
that to
Nature,
your
thank
social
you.
media? Yeah. Oh,
It's
social
not.
media.
It's on there. It's actually on
Okay.
their. You go, you log into their site, and
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, obviously, we're talking apps or applications aren't necessarily all on your phone. They could be on the computer. They
True.
can be. I mean, I don't know. And well, we're all on Facebook right now and YouTube.
Well, I was going to mention, you can use Happy Cow, the website, and it's the same information without the app. It's just more convenient if you're traveling to use your phone. And a lot of them do just have the corresponding websites. You don't need to, download the app. But I was going to mention that, the American Red Cross is, an not ancient, but very old organization. And they're as up to date with understanding, like, you've got your app, you schedule your donation date and all that stuff. But they also, the last time I went in to donate, they have a wall where, it's clearly designed for people to take selfies so that they can post, I donated plasma today, I donated platelets today. If that generates more donations, that's great, so yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
And also like these apps, like Nextdoor or Facebook Marketplace, you can find used items, or you
Yeah.
can share a lot of. I've given away a lot of free stuff.
Yeah.
And I was amazed, like instead of throwing something, if I just put it up on Nextdoor saying it is available for free, somebody will come get it from
Yeah.
you.
I've never had something I posted on like Free Cycle or neighborhood thing where
Yeah.
it didn't get taken.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
had even broken chairs that somebody took.
No, you're giving me hope, because we have an old couch that has seen better days due to all of our animals that we're just trying to figure out, like, it's out of the house now, but somebody reupholsters it. It's perfect, but yeah. Is there, or what if there was an app for meat eaters to pay for the meat of the animal they want to eat, like on layaway, and when the person is paid for it?
When the animal is paid for.
I don't understand the question.
Okay, so is it when the animal is paid for, it gets delivered to the person so they can eat it. So this Oreos is that's very interesting. Is I don't believe this exists, that a omnivore can pay for the animal they want to eat, and then once it's paid for, they can get it. I'm assuming you're going back to the slaughter of the animal. And I don't think there's an app, but I'm pretty sure. But you can do that with local farmers.
Yeah.
You can order how much poundage of meat you want from the local farmer when they slaughter the animal. Well, make sure you get that for your deep freezer that's in your basement or somewhere, so you can eat that over the course of the winter, I'm guessing. And you feel better about it because it came from a local farmer, not from a factory farm. Even though that local farmer may not have actually killed that animal, they might have sent the animal to a factory farm to get slaughtered. And then you're getting reap the
Yeah,
meat.
but I think many people that I know, they don't want to be connected with the animal that they are eating. I mean, I have read books that had nothing to do with veganism, and whenever meat eaters are confronted about causing the death of the animal they are eating, they do not agree that they have anything to do with the slaughter of the animal, or they don't think they are even responsible for the slaughter. I've seen this over and over and over.
because they have a
or
supermarket, right? Or is
yeah,
it I mean, people would do it. Wouldn't I mean people would do it since it would be so inconvenient.
right.
I,
They pick the meat just the way they pick their vegetables from the supermarket or wherever they're shopping, and so it's not it's not in front of their eyes.
Mhm.
I guess that's where they're going is if you. Oh, the word that comes to mind is like porn, right? So I'm thinking like if you watch what's going on with how your food is being like a car wash better. You watch when you don't go through the car wash in your car and you have to step out and you watch your car go through the car wash. You're like, "Oh, look at my car. That's getting this and it's getting that. It's getting this." And then when you come out on the other side, you have a clean car. What could you imagine if people actually could stand and watch the process of the slaughtering of the meat
Yeah, very few.
from
Most
the
people
start?
can't. Most
I
people can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's the disconnect that we have in the society. Not
oh
only
for
that,
sure.
like I think that identifying your food is such a fundamental instinct we have. But I have seen that when meat eaters look at these animals, they don't like a goat or a cow, or they don't even identify that as a food.
It's an it, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's yeah, there's no connection there many times. Now there are always exceptions, and some people are like that when they see a chicken they want to grab it and kill it right there. Rarely I have met such people as well, but most people can't bear to witness the slaughter, whether they eat the animal or not.
Right.
Well, it's not
You
even
see
the
even
thinking of the
go ahead,
animal, like
Kelly.
the not wanting to like think about the animal. It's even the terms they use. We don't say slaughter. We say harvest. We don't harvest animals. We harvest fruits and vegetables, right? But disconnecting, right? I talk about this all the
Disconnection.
time with my partner, right? Just the terminologies
Yeah.
that they use to further disconnect us.
Right.
Oh, there we go. Like when they get offended to see a chicken head or foot in their KFC.
Yeah, that's always true.
What did you do? That's part of the animal you're eating. Fry it, it still tastes good.
Because
No.
finally they see it. Finally you know the curtain has moved. So I think we're so used to just recognizing things that don't have veins, they don't have bones, they just are these slabs. But I would also say, though, a lot of cultures are very different about eating animals. It's way up in public viewing. So I don't believe this concept that if slaughterhouses had glass walls, everyone would be vegetarian. I don't believe that. I think a lot of it's just really cultural, you know.
Oh yeah, like in Asia they
Even
eat
though we don't like to see it.
they
Yeah.
eat a lot more of animals in Asia. They eat dogs in Asia, so we would never consider that here. It just would not. It'd be really. So I was just thinking, like, to create an app as a joke, but to create an app that you can take a picture of, like, your steak, and it shows you a picture of a cow. How fun would that be?
But the thing is that there is this culture of sort of Michael Pollan type followers who really fetishize, to me, it's almost more disgusting that they're putting a name to this animal, that they're ensuring that, like, it's almost like a Prince Humperdinck with with Wesley, I want you to be in the best condition before I kill you, kind of thing. That is as grotesque as being completely disconnected to me.
It is, but I would respect that more than those who have the disconnection.
I don't know. I think there's a sadism with. I think one is ignorance and one is kind of sadistic. I don't know.
But at least they can bear to do it, or they do it. They're connected with it. At least that. But I've seen people who eat meat are in complete denial about their responsibility or their role in killing that animal, a complete denial about that, or even that they are causing the suffering, or that it is not kind to mutilate, captivate, slaughter an animal. I mean, you can't say that is a kind act. You can't say you're
True.
kind to the animal if you are eating that animal that was subjected to brutality, torture, captivity, and then slaughter. There's no way you can use the word kind there, but they get offended if you say that it's that if you somehow accuse them of that brutality, they get offended.
I have to say something. I just happen to right now be writing a story about egg-laying hens for a magazine, and I think a lot of times the public sees egg-laying hens as a victimless thing. Like, they're producing eggs anyway. So, and obviously we know that the depth of the cruelty to these birds, but one of the aspects of it that I think confuses people is that the government in the United States, at least, uses euphemistic terms that don't apply, like humane slaughter of animals. 98% of the animals eaten do not qualify to by to sort of the umbrella of the Humane Slaughter Act, which is a misnomer regardless. But 98% of the animals slaughtered are birds and sea animals. And like I said, they don't qualify anyway. But I think a lot of times people just hear the words humane slaughter, have no clue what that means. And, so I don't even know where I was going with that, but it's depressing as hell. So
Oreos, I think my issues with death and the loss of my pet helped me understand my place assured as a vegan.
Yeah, and when I was not even a vegan, I've never eaten meat in my life, but I didn't know that these animals are raised artificially and then they are slaughtered for meat. I used to think that, oh, these animals are going to die. When they die, people must be eating them. That's not the case at all.
Right. It's just like people assume that cows are just producing milk, not forcibly impregnated. They
Right.
see, I mean, it's so irrational, like that they see some cows standing in a meadow on a road trip, so they think that all cows are living. Like that's just how uneducated people are about the food systems that they're supporting every day, So yeah.
Yeah, I am guilty of that. I had not made that connection at all when I was consuming dairy. I did not know that the cow is
Right.
first of all she has to go through the gestation and then labor and then give birth before she can lactate. I had not made that connection.
Well, there's no transparency, so that you wouldn't, unless you sought that information out,
Well, I mean, even when I grew up in India and there were cows all over the street and
Right.
all around us, but I still did not make that connection at all.
Okay. Well, you never know where we'll go with the conversation. This is where we ended up talking about apps. But there we go. It's abuse of the feminist state in so many ways in the industry. Yes, if you understand, you can take the step of saying, or this, you can stretch it to saying that if you're not vegan, then you don't understand feminism, and you don't support women.
Well, not just that. There is one abuse of the feminine, but then there is also elimination of the male.
Chickens, yep. That's just, that's another half hour. So I know a lot of us are hungry, and and we are talking about apps.
conversation.
I know. We started out serious, we went light, and then we went back to serious. So I guess that's just what we do on the Stew. So let me close us out and say thank you, Stew Crew, for being absolutely amazing and for a great conversation. So thank you, Sangeeta. Thank you, Marla. Thank you, Kelly. And thank you for watching The Vegan Stew. We are here at 7 p.m. on Wednesday nights, every Wednesday except for the first Wednesday of the month, where you get to watch Coach Kayla, who will answer your questions about health and nutrition. That's your time to reach her. She's a registered dietitian. So thank you, Oreos. Thanks for all your questions and comments. It was great. Have a great night. And thank you, Susan, once again, for being a great supporter and watching. And let's see. So next week, Coach Kayla. The following week, we'll have some topic on some show that'll be cool that you'll want to tune in and watch and participate. And we love having you join us and be part of the conversation. Remember to go to virtualvegfestlive.com and hit the contest tab to enter a contest. And don't forget to subscribe to the Vegan Stew and Virtual Veg Fest on YouTube. Hit the notification bell so that you know when we go live so you can tune in. That would be fantastic. Outside of that, we hope you are kind, stay healthy, be nice to one another. Life is not easy. Conserve, I don't know what to say, but I guess stop eating animals now. That would be a good way to help save the planet, because we're going to keep on pressing the climate change and global warming thing every week, because it's important. So tune in for that too. Have a good night. Bye.